Now, if you read the mainstream media, you will see a lot of dangerous and harmful misinformation. You get to see it on Twitter as well. Apparently, if I look at some of the articles that were presented to me, people in Spain are protesting against socialism. The far right has reason. So I look into it because it's a little bit bizarre. I don't take the stuff at face value. Turns out that calling them far right is a little bit disingenuous. They are anti-separatists. I mean, would be the correct way of calling them. Now, I'm pretty sure that like some people who are against the Socialist Party and its policies, noticing that there's people protesting for other reasons, they may go and it's like, okay, well, we're going to join the protest to increase the numbers. I'm sure those people exist who weren't satisfied with the election results. But overwhelmingly, the protests are about Catalonia and not about the fact that they're worried the government may seize the means of production. So they're not anti-socialists in nature. Now the thing with Catalonia, and this is what sparked the whole thing, is that it's its own region in Spain. It's got people of its own ethnicity. Like this is something that Americans don't understand because they look at Europe and they say white. But there are grievances. Like here in Europe, we don't see each other as white. In this case, a group of people see themselves as Catalonians, and another group of people see themselves as Spanish. And the Catalonians think that the Spanish people are oppressing them. Catalonia is part of Spain historically through various means, marriages, actual conflicts. Like there's a series of historical events that has led to Catalonia being a part of Spain. And suffice to say that some people in Catalonia demand that it's getting its independence, right? So a couple of years ago, you guys may have remembered that there was like a referendum to decide the future of Catalonia. And they were voting for Catalonia as independence. The Spanish government didn't really appreciate that. They sent a police force in there, which ended up... I would say the professionalism of the Spanish police has to be mentioned here because there weren't any fatalities, as far as I could remember, even though they hurt and hospitalized a lot of the protesters. No one died, so like the American police can't do something like this. It takes like some sort of skill and training to beat someone to an inch of their life and still manage to hospitalize them so that person doesn't die. But like all dark jokes aside, it did happen. Like I remember the pictures in the press. It was very gruesome with the cops beating up protesters and stuff, especially elderly. There were cops facing off the firefighters. Like those pictures went viral. I'm pretty sure you guys remember them. And this sparked the conversation is like, do we not love democracy? Because those people just wanted to vote for independence. Now, if we look at the United States, like let's assume that, I don't know, the southern states, Virginia and many other states that are in the south, would hypothetically want to succeed from the Union. Like they would have their own flag and, they would just want to go their own way. What do you think would happen? Like, historically speaking, across the world, usually when you want independence, rarely it is done peaceful. So to me, as a person who likes history, wasn't really shocked by the Spanish government's response, nor was I shocked about the European Union's response, which was pretty much to shrug. Like, they didn't support or condemn it, they were very silent on the issue. Despite the fact that the European Union, of course, it loves minorities and doesn't like when people are marginalized and stuff. In this situation, it didn't say anything. And this is due to the fact that they do not want other referendums. Like, they do not want to encourage member states from the European Union to do a Brexit. And also, within their own member states, like, for example, Romania has Transylvania. I'm pretty sure that other European countries have their own versions of Catalonia or Transylvania that they wouldn't want to just start voting. It's like, okay, we want to secede. And then you have like really tiny fragmented nation states across the European Union. So this is why the EU didn't vocalize anything about it. But anyway, right, they managed to suppress that referendum and they also arrested a lot of the agitators. So they're still facing charges. Other of them are in prison. But recently, in the last election, the Socialist Party has tried to form a government. So they tried to form alliances with other party members, but like with other parties, sorry. But the other parties, especially the center one, didn't want to ally themselves with the socialists. So they had to make an alliance with the separatist parties. And the separatist parties demanded that amnesty be provided for the people that participated into that referendum. And this is what caused the current far right to go out on the streets. They do not want the amnesty because it sends a message that it is encouraged to try and do referendums for independence in the future. It destabilizes the nation state. They do not want Spain and Catalonia to part ways, right? So this is what the protests are actually about. And again, the European Union is very quiet about this. But something has happened which makes me curious if the if the politicians that are more influential in the European Union will have something to say about it. Is the fact that the Prime Minister right now is being sieged in a hotel. And next to him may be the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Yeah, it is an event. I don't know how they're going to get them out. Probably the police is going to have to go in and clear a path. But I am curious if the European Union will address this now, because it's really interesting to see who they side with. I expect that they will side with the Spanish government. And at the end of the day, you know, like a little bit of hypocrisy. I mean, sure, you can set a precedent and say that you're siding with the Spanish government, and then when you have like another thing happening in another country with a minority that you care about and you support them, hopefully people will forget. But yeah, I mean, I find it interesting because like the Catalonian separatists, like despite the fact that they're very nationalistic oriented and they're very ethnic oriented, they're left-wing as fuck, right? Like, on one hand, they would be viewed as far-right, because they are, like, a little bit blood and soil, but, I mean, it's not really accurate to call them blood and soil, but you know what I mean, like, they care about ethnicity, they want Catalonians to have their own language, like, they want independence, so they are, like, patriotic in that sense, and nationalistic in that sense. But at the same time, they're pro-EU, they're you know, supporting a lot of left-leaning causes, so it's a very bizarre ideology. I mean, theoretically, they are leftists with borders, let's put it like that. They want a border between Catalonia and Spain. And what's even more bizarre, and this is something that I don't understand as Romanian, like maybe a Catalonian can explain it to me, but they want to leave Spain, but they still want to be in the European Union. So, like, technically, there would be no border, like, what exactly changes? Like, if you're still in the European Union, right, but you just don't want to be in Spain. I mean, one of the things that we have here in Romania is a historical context with Bessarabia. Bessarabia was taken by the Russians, and then its ethnicity was changed because, like, the Russians deported a lot of Romanians from there into Siberia, imported other Russians, whatever. But the thing is, a lot of Romanians, they want our country and Bessarabia to be together again. And there's two ways to do this. Like one of the less probable ways is to actually have an alliance. Like, Bessarabia wants to join Romania, the border goes away, so there we go. But the other more realistic way is if Bessarabia joins the European Union, then the border simply vanishes. Right? So, I don't know. I just find it interesting. It seems to me like a little bit of a grift. Like, if you want independence, sure, get independence. But, like, why would you still want to be in the European Union so that you have no border with Spain? Like what exactly changes? Except for, like, the politicians and the people in power who gain, you know, a lot more influence, I guess. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.